Om Namo Narayani. Good morning, good evening, everyone, wherever all of us are joining in from. And welcome to the 18th week of Sri Lalitha class for beginners. Today we will be chanting her names from 117 to 123. And the descriptions are now have started describing her qualities. Let us begin with our prayers with Guru Gayatri first. Om Jnana Rupaya Vidmahi Shakti Hamsaya Dhimahi Tanno Shakti Amma Prachodayat. Om Jnana Rupaya Vidmahi Shakti Hamsaya Dhimahi Tanno Shakti Amma Prachodayat. Om Jnana Rupaya Vidmahi Shakti Hamsaya Dhimahi Tanno Shakti Amma Prachodayat. Om Sarvamangala Mangalye Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Sarvamangala Mangalye Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Sarvamangala Mangalye Shive Sarvartha Sadhike Sharanye Trayambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. 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 Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dhyanam Sindhuraruna Vigraham Trinayanamanikya Maulispurataranayaka Shekharam Smitamukhi Mapina Vakshuruham Panibhyamalipurna Ratna Chashakam Raktotpalam Bibhratim Saumyam Ratna Ghatastha Rakta Charanam Dhyayet Paramambikam Dhyayet Padmasanastham Vikasita Vadanam Padmapatra Yatakshim Hemabham Pitavastram Karakalitalasad Hema Padmam Varangim Sarvalankara Yuktam Satatam Abhayatam Bhaktanam Ram Bhavanim Shri Vidyam Santamurtim Sakala Suranutam Sarva Sampat Pradatrim Sakunkuma Vilepanamalika Chumbikasturikam Samanda Hasitekshanam Sachara Chapa Pashankusam Asesha Janamohini Marunamalya Bhushojvalam Japa Kusuma Bhasuram Japa Vidhau Smaredambikam Arunam Karunatarangitakshim Dhrutapashankusha Pushpabana Chapam Animadhibhiravrutam Mayukhairahamityeva Vibhavaye Mahesim. Om Aim Hrim Klim Om Namo Narayani. Let us begin with her 117th name. Om Shreem bhakta-saubhāgya-dāyinyai namah swaha. 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 Om Shreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who grants all prosperities. Bhakta is devotee. Bhakti is devotion. Bhakta marga is way. Bhakta marga is the path of devotion. So the next few names, her names are all related to devotion. Bhakta-saubhāgya. Bhagya is good fortune, good luck. We have Bhagya helping us with the recordings and the postings. So it's she, Lalita, brings Su is good. Su, when combined with Bhagya, Saubhagya, she brings all the good fortunes, good luck to her bhakta, her devotees. And there are many elaborations for Saubhagya, and Bhagya can come from the root Bhagavan. Bhaga means all the good fortunes, good things, good wealth, materialistic wealth, monetary wealth, all the various types of wealth. And these are her qualities. Aishwaryam is her quality. And the desires, without desire, there is no movement, no interactions. You need something, you want something, there is a desire, and then that sets in motion. That's how life is. Life manifests through that desire. And desires can, when they go out, then if it becomes greed, then it brings problems. But there are normal desires that are needed to sustain life and to go through life smoothly. And she can confer those desires. There is viryam, there is power that is really potentized. It's valor with that quality of infused in it, of that potency in that. She is prakasham, she is like the illumination, the light, the source of all this that is glowing radiance. She gives fame. She gives that magnanimity. She has that magnanimity. All these are her qualities imbibed in that one word, bhaga. Bhagavan is another word for God, because God has all these qualities, and those who have these 6 qualities are referred to as the Bhagavan, the name for the strength, the valor, the riches, not just material, can confer. She can give when you ask, she can give you. And there is another interpretation for saubhagya. It's like 8 auspicious things. And each thing in creation has those special qualities. And 8 among them are chosen for extra auspiciousness that she likes. Like in the yagam, we see all these different plates that are offered in Purnahudi, the completion at the yagam. And each of them has a special significance. We offer all these auspicious things. And Saubhagya refers to sugarcane, the people tree. The people tree is the Bodhi tree. Most people associate Bodhi tree with Buddha. He got enlightened under the Bodhi tree, the people tree. It is very auspicious. Jeera, sprouted jeera, that is cumin, coriander, cow's milk, curd, butter, ghee, all the products from the milk are auspicious. Everything that's yellow or saffron in color, flowers are auspicious, and salt is also auspicious. So these can be included in the Saubhagya, but all these represent certain wealth and prosperity. She can confer all these to her devotees, to all her bhaktas. She can confer these, all the prosperities. Her 118th name, Om Sreem Bhakti priyāyai namah swaha. Om Shreem, Om Shreem, Bhakti priyāyai, Bhakti priyāyai, namah swaha, namah swaha. Om Shreem, Om Shreem, Bhakti priyāyai, Bhakti priyāyai, namah swaha, namah swaha. Om Shreem Bhakti priyāyai, namah swaha. Om Shreem Bhakti priyāyai, namah swaha. Om Shreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who is fond of devotion. Bhakti is devotion. Earlier, the previous name we saw bhakta. Bhakta is devotee. Here, bhakti is devotion. Priya is, she likes it. She loves it. Preeti, it is something she's very fond of. She is fond of devotion, and true devotion, it's just word devotion, but to go to that essence of that devotion is word devotion and how it manifests is a lot can be said on that. And if you look in all religions, it is the devotees, it's like two sides of a coin, they say, the divine and the devotee together. It is inseparable. And she's so fond of her, of devotion. And again, a lot can be said. Even apart from, we saw in the Kaulachara, you can worship the macrocosm, you can worship her through the microcosm, all the rituals, and all the different techniques that are provided to connect with the divine. And if it is devoid of bhakti, if we are just mechanically doing these processes, it is not able to connect with, it doesn't help to connect with her. You may have to do it many, 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 many years till that essence of devotion starts sprouting. And this devotion, the path of devotion, Mama keeps saying again, is the easiest path in these times in Kali Yuga. Among all the other paths, the Jnana Marga, the Yoga Marga, the Karma Marga, all these different ways that you can connect, so many paths, and she's pathless too, that can connect us to our source. The easiest among them is the Bhakti Marga, the path of devotion. Through devotion, she can be attained. The next one comes that she is fond of this devotion. And it is that essence that can connect us to the soul and to the divine. And there are so many types of devotions are described. And the love for God can come in so many ways. First, to appreciate that there is a divine. And there are many, even in this human birth, which is so precious. There are many who don't deal with God in their life. They're happy going about their daily routines, working, earning, living a comfortable life, and that is fine. But do they ever connect with the divine? The soul can live from the mind and from pleasures, and the whole life can go. But to seek to connect with that creation, the totality, and to be in awe of that creation, what created all this? There's something far more than what the human can create. This whole thing that is around us in creation, there is something higher than the human capabilities that creates it. And that is divine. That universe, that creation, if you don't want the form of God, the formlessness of it, there is that beyond our comprehension, that beautiful energy that is the creation, the one behind the creation. And to develop that awe and reverence for that is bhakti. And to be able to understand this and to appreciate it and connect with that possibility is given to some. And it's very fortunate that you can even think of these things, the possibilities of that to connect with the divine. And she is very fond of that devotion. The divine has everything because the divine created everything. But the only thing the divine wants from the creation is that devotion. That is the essence of it all. And the divine just needs that devotion, and she loves that devotion. Bhakti priyāyai, she loves devotions. And the next name, 119th name, Om Sreem Bhakti gamyāyai namah swaha. Om Om Sreem, Om Sreem, Bhakti gamyāyai, Bhakti gamyāyai, namah swaha, namah swaha. Om Sreem, Om Sreem, Bhakti gamyāyai, Bhakti gamyāyai, namah swaha, namah swaha. Om Sreem, Bhakti gamyāyai, namah swaha. Om Sreem, Bhakti gamyāyai, namah swaha. Om Sreem, salutations to Sri Lalitha, who's obtained through devotion. And this name can give so much explanation to this name of hers. She's attainable through devotion. Millions, trillions, billions, materialistic things, all that she gives us for our enjoyment. But to attain her, to go to that divine, she can be attained through devotion, bhakti. And we see in every religion the beauty of the devotee and how the devotee connects with the divine. There is numerous, if you read anyone's life story, their biographies, the trials and tribulations they go through, that devotion gets stronger and stronger and stronger. It reaches the point it is unfazed. In any kind of difficulties, that devotion is like the root holding them to the divine. And it gives us the further names also. It comes how each one builds to the other. To have that devotion is a rarity. And to attain her through that devotion is the easiest way. And yet it is very difficult because many of us live in our intellectual mind, and it's difficult to connect with love, with devotion to something that is so huge and incomprehensible. And the devotee in Abhirami Bhattari's song, he composes songs, I've mentioned this earlier, when he calls the next day as full moon and the king is about to slay him, because if the moon doesn't appear and it's not full moon the next day, everyone is waiting for it, he's going to be beheaded. He goes and says, I'm totally immersed in you. I don't know what I said tomorrow's Paurnami, but even if it's not, it is really up to you. That surrender, the totality of that surrender is what, at that peak of it, she can be attained so easily. Otherwise, our intellect, our logic keeps coming in between to hold us in our ground, to release us from that surrender. And when he does that total surrender, the divine takes care of everything. And when she is attained through that bhakti, through that devotion, then life flows with grace and ease, because nothing is your problem anymore. She is taking care. The divine is taking care. If troubles come, it is something that had to come. It's okay. It touches you unfazed. It comes and leaves. It doesn't go right in to disturb. It comes, leaves. Whatever comes, it's at the periphery and leaves. It doesn't shake you at the core, at your roots, because that bhakti is the core that is rooting us to the soul in us, to the divine, the totality of it. And so many stories of devotees, they give us that nuances and the essence of how in each trial and tribulation, how they addressed it, how was their faith shaken, and how did they not be shaken. Some devotees are shaken and then they come out of it saying, oh, I see, it happened. And Amma says that everything, all the trials and tribulations are whatever are obstacles for us to that connection. It is karma, or karma is what our imprints. Those imprints that we have within us are the veil that is preventing that connection. And these trials and tribulations come to clear these, to sharpen that deeper connection, that intellect, to see beyond what is the obvious in front, to see beyond that, to see the essence of that totality of that creation, the divine, and still be able to offer that bhakti. And Amma says in the Connect with the volume, in the Kali Yuga, mind does tricky things to us. We have devotion, we have love for Amma, for the divine, but then it's not constant. It keeps fluctuating. Then we get caught up in our routines, and we have to come back to strengthen this. And Amma calls this chanting of mantras as a spiritual drip, because Kali Yuga, spirituality is so depleted. Like when a person is sick, they need to go to the hospital to get a drip, to get resuscitation, rejuvenation, to get back the energy. And chanting of mantras is a spiritual drip we need every day to keep that connection alive, for the spirituality to strengthen and grow. And it's not like chanting or doing these is like a counting mission, like I'll do 1,000 today, I'll do 500 today, and mechanically doing it is not the thing. She is bhakti gamya, she is obtainable with that purity, that true devotion. Like when Amma does puja to Mangala Narayani, or she chants a mantra once, a few times, it is full power is manifested. And for us, depending on each one's level, we have to chant it so many times, so many times, so many times to get even a fraction of that energy. It's like you have to do like so many millions of chants or hundreds of thousands of those chants for so many hours, so many days, or so many years to get that level of that Shakti from the mantra. Whereas Amma chants it once, a few times, it's already attained. How that happens is the depth of that purity, that intention, that devotion that comes in. As the bhakta, the devotee, gets deeper and deeper, the mind clutter clears, and every word they say, it comes from the heart. It's an offering of that purity, and it is so much easier to attain her when that level of devotion and that level of purity of devotion comes through. And it is a process for all of us, and she makes it easier and easier for us, giving us all these opportunities to participate in the yagams and pujas. She's constantly offering for the whole world. We'll see her next name, 120th name. Sreem Bhakti vaśyāyai namah swaha. Sreem Bhakti vaśyāyai, Bhakti vaśyāyai namah swaha, namah swaha. Sreem Bhakti vaśyāyai, Bhakti vaśyāyai namah swaha, namah swaha. Om Sreem bhakti vaśyāyai namah swaha. Om Sreem bhakti vaśyāyai namah swaha. Om Sreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who can be won over through true devotion. Bhakti, devotion. Vasya is that attraction. It's like a magnet being drawn. The filings being drawn to the magnet here. Here she is so attached to and drawn to devotion. She is childlike. You know, in devotions, there are so many descriptions. They say there are 8 bhavas. Bhava is the different expressions. Like in dance, they say the actual formation, the physical structure of each posture is one thing. And then the bhavam, the facial expression that goes with that is one thing. So it all combines together to have this form, bhavam. And the bhakti bhavam is that true full expression of the devotion, and how each devotee expresses this devotion can be in many ways, but they also mention 8 different bhavas of devotion. You can look at us, the devotee can feel like a child and looks up to the divine as the mother, the cosmic father, that form of reverence. The devotee can look at it like a friend. Divine is my friend. It's like all these different forms of expressions you will see in scriptures and in devotees' lives and biographies all the time. And each one purifies, excels, and becomes a master in that bhavam. The devotee is the beloved. Mira merges, Andal merges, and there are so many who look at the divine as their beloved. Some have taken on the thing, look, I'm your servant, I'll do whatever for you, I'll serve you, that bhavam of service, the bhavam of merging into the divine, beyond everything, ultimately is to become one with the divine. There is no separation between the divine and me. That self-identity, the lesser, smaller I, the ego has dissolved, and there is only that purity of that divine alone stands, and the self is, the identity with the self is non-existent. And we can see so many devotees in their stories, they are not aware of what is going on, and so many miracles happen around them. They, in the Bhakti Baba, they become one with the divine. It's spiritual drip. It's like it's flushing you with the possibility of how to connect with the divine, and how these smaller entanglements and what are obstacles in the way, they are unfettered. They fall away on their process as the divine devotion becomes stronger and stronger. And when she sees that devotee, that devotion, she follows them. She is childlike. And a child, if you give her, I'll do so much for you, I can get you so much, I can do all this in a grand manner. What does a child, is the child interested in all that? She'll say, no, come play with me, sit with me, let's chat, let's sing together, let's play together, let's have chocolate, let's have ice cream. It's so simple, the child's need. And that devotion of the devotee, she is drawn to the devotee. There are stories where after the devotee has finished and the prayers is going, the divine is following the devotee. The divine cannot leave that devotee. It's 2 sides of the coin. It's flip side. And the devotee evokes her presence in every way, in that totality of that true love and that devotion. And it's only a soul-to-soul connection. There's no existence of this mind at that point. It is that purified soul-to-soul connection, the little soul to the totality of the soul. And vaśyāyai, and there are so many stories again where the divine is just attached to the devotion. There are people who do all this with strictness. They do the pujas and rituals and all in perfection, order. But they are coming more from the mind of the strictness and the correctness of doing it. There could be a devotee who says, I don't know all this. I don't have all this. I can't afford all this. I'm eating this. This food is what I can give you, and it could be leftover food, whatever. And it's offered with that devotion, and she looks only for that devotion. They say you can go through so many processes to attain her, but with devotion, she's like a little child right there with you, and you become a little child in that process. There is no separation at that point. It's all these bhavas of bhakti can all just seep in, soak in. Once that level of bhakti comes in, she becomes attached to you. She is attracted to you. Just like we are attracted to the divine becomes attracted to that devotion. Amma talks about it. When we perform rituals with love, concentration, devotion, faith, and dedication, this connects us with our soul. And the mind can do only one thing at a time. The rituals are not for the divine. Performing rituals gives us an opportunity to connect with our soul, and this helps us to connect with the totality, that one soul, that oneness in that creation. And she's providing all these methods, techniques, so that we can connect with her, and she's there with us. And this life journey is not a dry, it's not a struggle anymore, but it's a flowing with that beauty, with ease and grace and that love and devotion. Her 121st name, we can go on. There is so much to talk about each devotee, and it can take months and months, but it's an invitation to explore the lives of different devotees, sages, saints, rishis, and so many stories. It's like how the divine came to them. The divine, they can connect with the divine just with a thought, just that intention. Even before they think, they can see the divine. The divine comes and stands in front of them. They can converse with the divine. That devotion, it's like we are talking with each other now. The devotee talks to the divine just like that. It's not like a concept or an entity out there, and I do my prayers and I go about my business. The divine is a stronger reality than the rest of the world. That connection becomes so much deeper. Then we are connected internally, and all the external things that happen, they flow with ease and grace, because the inner connection has become the primary connection. 121st name. Sreem bhayāpahāyai namah swaha. Sreem bhayāpahāyai namah swaha. Sreem bhayāpahāyai bhayāpahāyai namah swaha. Namah swaha. Sreem bhayāpahāyai bhayāpahāyai, namah swaha, namah swaha. Om Sreem bhayāpahāyai, namah swaha. Om Sreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who dispels all fear. Bhaya is fear. She clears and removes all fears. On a daily basis, if we just connect with the divine, that connection gives so much strength, and that strength makes things that can normally seem like they can make you feel afraid, scared, they lose that intensity. They are there, but it won't affect you deeply. And as that connection becomes deeper, and when we go to these masters of the bhakti, those who have mastered it, who have connected with that totality, Sri Lalitha, Narayani, that totality, they've connected with their devotion. Again, if we see biographies of different devotees, even if they face the worst of hurdles, it no longer bothers them. It does not evoke any sense of fear in them, because they have surrendered. They are with the divine, and they know the divine can take care in that total state of surrender. But for those who haven't totally surrendered but still love the divine also, she has the capability, as we chant and we connect with her, to clear all fears. This reminds me of the story of Prahlada. Some of you may have heard of it. In the 10 incarnations, Prahlada comes in the one where Lord Vishnu manifests as Narasimha. Nara is human, Simha is lion. So he is half human, half lion. And Prahlada is born in the Asura lineage. So his father is an Asura. He has great powers, all that Hiranyakashipu. He says, I am so powerful, even God has to come and bow at my feet. So his ego had blown up, because us devotees evolve and evolve and evolve. They gain a lot of powers. They become closer and closer to similar to God, because they start imbibing God nature in them. But as you feel these powers and they can see what their powers can do, instead of dissolving, the ego dissolving in, oh, these are what your gifts to me, and I'm grateful for these gifts of yours as I come closer to you, it can fuel the ego. You can say, oh, I can do all this, I can do all this, I can destroy this, I can command all this. And Hiranyakashipu was at that state where his ego was bloated. Asuras are powerful, but their intellect is kind of skewed up. They not in alignment with the divine. So he was defaming God, and to him was born a son. It is said that when his wife was pregnant, when Prahlada was in the womb of his mother, she was listening to the story of the divine from a sage called Narada. So this child in the womb was listening to the divine glories while it was growing. So this child was born in the Asura lineage, but with strong devotion for the divine. And the whole kingdom was worshipping his father, but the father was seeing, as his son grew up, he was worshipping the divine. He got so mad at his son. He said, you should offer your worship to me first. Divine comes next. And he says, divine is first, don't you see that? And the father got so mad. He tried to destroy his own son in many ways, bringing a mad, enraged elephant to stamp on him and throw him down over a cliff into the ocean, giving him milk with poison in it. And Prahlada was so in that state of devotion, none of these things brought any fear to him. As he was thrown over, he was just praying to the divine. The divine received him from the ocean, brought him back. The father was like, I thought you're gone, you're still there again. He tried to kill him with the elephant. The elephant came all the way, lifted its foot to stamp on him, the child. And then it withdrew its foot and it walked away. It couldn't kill. And most of us, we are caught up in the terror of the moment as things stand. But when the devotee is anchored with the divine, it can bring miracles. It changes whatever seems to be the obvious that is coming, oncoming, can change, because that in that state of surrender, the impossible is possible. Anything can change. And when he was given the poison milk, he knew there was poison in it. He said, I'd offer it to the divine. And he drank it and he was still alive. His father didn't know what to do. He was so furious. And it said that he'd asked for a boon that no man can kill him. No, he'd asked for so many different intricate things, saying, so I cannot be killed by anything. And so God came as this half human, half lion, which was not in his concept at all, not inside the house, outside the house. He sat on the doorstep, which is neither here nor there. And I will not be killed by all these armaments, this, that. So the lion with its claws tore him apart. That's how it says. And it came out through the pillar. And that at some point when he prays to the divine can take it no more, that his devotee is suffering. And that Shakti manifests to clear this out and destroys the father. And even though Prahlada comes to the throne, because of his karma, good karma as a devotee, his whole lineage, all the generations up and down, the divine grace blesses, because they are released of their asuric natures to come into the fold of the divine. Such is the grace of the divine. Even the negativities, it clears to bring into the light of the divine with all the auspiciousness, all the goodness. Anything becomes possible with that purity of love and devotion. So she can clear all fears when we surrender to her. Om Sreem bhayāpahāyai namah. She clears all the fears. Her next name, 122nd name, Om Sreem śāmbhavyai namah swaha. 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 Om Sreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who is known as Shambhavi, the consort of Shiva, actually consort of Shambhu, which is an aspect of Shiva. Shambhu and Shambhavi, abode of joy, the source of bliss she is. And through that devotion, once you go through this devotion, we are totally connected to her. What flows is that joy and that bliss. Each of these names are leading up to the other. And Shambhavi is also a mudra in the yoga path. A girl of 8 years age is called Shambhavi. This is mentioned in one of the scriptures, very famous for Devi Bhagavatam. And she is that bliss and joy. She is also the deity who worship Shambhu. Those who worship Shambhu, Shambhavi, they call, excuse me, Shambhavas. And again, with the devotion, she confers that joy that she is. She is the abode of joy. She is the source of bliss. Her 123rd name, Om Sreem Sharada-radhyāyai namah swaha. Om Sreem. Om Sreem. Om Sreem Sharada. I should keep water with me next time. One moment, excuse me. Om Sreem Sharada Radhyāyai namah swaha. Thank you. Sorry about that. Her 123rd name, Om Sreem Sharada Radhyāyai namah swaha. Om Sreem, Om Sreem, Sa, the S with an accent, Sa, not Sha, not Sa, but Sa. Saradha Radhyāyai, Sarada Radhyāyai, namah swaha, namah swaha. If you break it and see, Sharada is Saraswati, Aradhyai is worship. Aradhana, Aradhyai is worship. Om Sreem Sharada Radhyāyai, Sharada Radhyāyai, namah swaha, namah swaha. Om Sreem, Om Sreem Sharada Radhyāyai, Sarada Radhyāyai, namah swaha, namah swaha. Om Sreem Sharada Radhyāyai, namah swaha. Om Sreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who's adored, Aradhyai, worshipped, who's adored, worshipped by Goddess Sharada, Saraswati, the consort of Lord Brahma. Again, there are many interpretations. These can be explained in different ways. So it's like Sri Lalitha is there, like Narayani is there, Lakshmi, Saraswati, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati, Durga, they're all her, and each one in their qualities offer the worship to her. Here it is Saraswati, Mahasaraswati. Sharada is offering worship to that cosmic oneness of Sri Lalitha Narayani. And we see in other things where Brahma, Vishnu, Rudra, everyone is offering her worship because every aspect has emanated from this oneness. And Sharada is that pure, clear mind that Saraswati can give. She gives that pure, clear mind, and she herself is worshipping the totality of Sri Lalitha Narayani. She's part of it and she worships it. And Sharada is also referred to, is mentioned as the rainy seasons. And she is worshipped around in the rainy seasons. Amma's mentioned when several times in Guru Purnima, when she talks about Guru Purnima, its significance is it comes in the July time frame. And after July, the rainy season starts. So Guru Purnima is a time when we offer obeisance to a guru, a teacher, the master. And because it's rainy season, in those days, people don't travel much. They're constrained to where they live without outside travel. And they utilize this time during the rainy seasons to go deep into the spiritual practices, their sadhana, reading and chanting and learning of scriptures. It's like retreat time for them. And it's a time of worship during the rainy seasons. And it is also the time, Sharadha Aradhyai, the worship that is done in the spring season. Like we have the Navaratri usually in October, November, there is another Navaratri during the spring season, which is called Basanta Navaratri, and she is worshipped during those times. And it is, all these names are bringing us closer and closer to her through her qualities and what she is. The descriptions we saw, and now we are now focusing more into her qualities, and each quality is a benevolent quality, and so many of them limitless. And what the human mind can comprehend, she's given a select few in 1,000. And there are more and more which is not even comprehensible to this intellect of us. And to fit into what is within our comprehension, she gives these. And even these are beyond understanding for those who don't even have the concept of God in their life. And yet through compassion, it doesn't matter. She keeps conferring because it is her child, and Amma says, like maybe I mentioned earlier, Kali Yuga is special time, challenging time. So she doesn't want to leave challenge children, and she wants to confer more of her compassionate grace and blessings during these times. These pujas, these blessings, people in the good times, when in the other yugas, people would have to put in intense tapas, intense penances, and it's like taking on a project and going deep into it for many, many years or lifetimes to continue in that. And Kali Yuga, just with that devotion, she offers it that easily because times are such that. And so those stipulations and changes have changed for her. She's made it very easy for us to make us attainable, for us to be able to reach her. She makes herself more easily attainable. So there was a request. We will chant her names for this week together. If you can join, or it can be, you can listen to it as we at the end of the recordings as well. So 117 to 123. And always, if you're not sure, start with Om Namo Narayani, because you are surrendering to the totality of that cosmic mother. And she takes care even if there are any faults or defects in what we offer from, we say swaha, like the yagam. Swaha is an offering. You're offering the flower of a heart. Can actually hold a flower, or even if many flowers are not available, even a petal for each offering, or a pinch of kumkum, but that kumkum have to be put to good use, not discarded, because it is energized and she is so fond of this kumkum. And if it's a kumkum that you will use, you can hold a pinch of kumkum and offer it to her, a petal or whatever is available for you, a leaf. Or if none of these are available, offer with that love and devotion from the heart, which is the ultimate. So we will do this week's chanting. Maybe we'll do 2 rounds. Om Namo Narayani. Om Sreem bhakta-saubhāgya-dāyinyai namah swaha. Om Shreem bhakti-priyāyai namah swaha. Om Shreem bhakti-gamyāyai namah swaha. Om Shreem bhakti-vaśyāyai namah swaha. Om Shreem bhayāpahāyai namah swaha. Om Shreem śāmbhavyai namah swaha. Om Shreem Sharadaradhyayai namah swaha. We'll do once more. Om Shreem bhakta-saubhāgya-dāyinyai namah swaha. Om Shreem bhakti-priyāyai namah swaha. Om Shreem bhakti-gamyāyai namah swaha. Om Shreem bhakti-vaśyāyai namah swaha. Om Shreem bhayāpahāyai namah swaha. Om Shreem śāmbhavyai namah swaha. Om Shreem Sharadaradhyayai namah swaha. Om Namo Narayani. We can end the recording now, Bhagya. I have an announcement. I'll say that after we end the recording. Yeah.